Oh, the royal drama just got a whole lot messier, can you believe it? Prince Harry's reputation is crashing faster than a high-speed train, and it's all happening in front of our very eyes. This isn't some wild Twitter rumor or a made-up tabloid headline. This is real, and it's getting ugly. But the real story here, it's all thanks to one man who knows exactly how to take down royal facades. Enter Tom Bower. If you haven't heard of him yet, Bower is a seasoned biographer, one who's spent his career unmasking the truth about billionaires, politicians, and even royalty. When he speaks, the world listens. And right now, he's got Prince Harry and Meghan squarely in his crosshairs.
You think Meghan's next move is?
Well, my view is that she is writing her memoirs, and that all the rest of this...
Oh, no.
It'll be a huge money spinner. And all this, what we've seen this last week, is absolute media manipulation of the most extraordinary...
But what did Bower have to say? Brace yourselves, his words were anything but soft. He didn't mince his speech. No, instead, he accused Harry and Meghan of being serial liars. Yes, serial. His exact words? They're masters at twisting the truth for personal gain, manipulating situations to suit their needs, and they clearly think the public has a short memory. Ouch. Now, for those who followed the Sussex saga from the start, this probably wasn't that shocking, but trust me, it didn't stop there. What followed was a bombshell that took everything from mere speculation to an open wound. Bower didn't just stop at calling them liars. Oh no, he dropped the real bombshell about Archie and Lilibet's births. And let me tell you, the public didn't just whisper about it. They were shouting it from the rooftops.
And then Harry knocking the media for not being nice to the Afghan victims, which was completely untrue. Harry's outrageous entry to the St. George's Chapel just when the Cambridges were doing their service.
The whole world is now asking, did Harry and Meghan lie about their kids' births? And let me tell you, it's no longer just a whisper in royal circles. The debate's taken over mainstream media. You'll find it all over primetime television, with petitions gaining thousands of signatures.
And I thought tonight, this was really ridiculous. There was Harry, doing really good stuff in the Victors' Games, but playing on these poor victims of war to somehow promote himself in Dusseldorf, which was absolutely, I thought, pretty nauseating. And
so what exactly is going on here? Why is Harry dodging these accusations? You'd think that as a royal, he'd be used to being in the public eye and dealing with controversies head-on, but nope. Harry's refusal to directly address this only seems to be making the flames burn brighter. Meanwhile, Bower's credibility in the UK is unmatched. This guy is not just another social media commentator with an opinion. No, he's a serious journalist with a track record of exposing powerful figures. So when Bower speaks, people listen.
And what is really annoying is that we shouldn't have to in any way admire what they're doing in Dusseldorf, because they have wrecked with all their lies. The lies on Oprah Winfrey.
And let's be clear, Bower didn't just toss out vague opinions. He came prepared, armed with specifics. He didn't just say, oh, I think they're lying. No, he laid out the facts, showing how their stories from Oprah to Netflix to Harry's own memoir, Spare, are riddled with contradictions. And when you're caught in a web of lies like this, it's not just a little embarrassing, it's catastrophic. The public sees the inconsistencies, and once they start noticing, it's almost impossible to get the toothpaste back in the tube.
Tom, do you think Harry and Meghan are fast learning what they signed away when they took this Netflix big moolah? And I would say they signed away their credibility and their dignity.
Well, that's our view, but it's not theirs. They need the money, and they need it now more.
Bower, being the veteran journalist he is, also pointed out something that's been quietly simmering in the background: the oddity of Meghan's pregnancies. Ever noticed how her baby bumps seem to change in size and shape from week to week? One minute it's barely there, and the next it's huge. What's up with that? Now, I'm not saying that bumps can't vary, but this was a little too dramatic to ignore, don't you think?
They're just stuck with the devil now. They're tied to Netflix, they're tied to their book, and all the criticism they're going to take means nothing, because that's the only way they can earn their money.
Very interesting, actually. I don't know if you saw this from Tina Brown, who is, of course, one of...
Critics argue that royal pregnancies follow a predictable biological pattern, but Meghan's didn't. And while most royals would shrug off this kind of gossip, Meghan and Harry took a very different route. They chose maximum privacy, an option that now, in hindsight, looks like a huge mistake. By keeping things under wraps, they created a void that the public filled with speculation. And that, my friends, is where the real drama began. Now, let's dive into why this matters so much. For decades, centuries really, royal births have been both personal and constitutional events. They aren't just about the family, they affect the monarchy as an institution. When William and Kate had their kids, there was no mystery. They made public appearances almost immediately. Photos, live press events, and transparency. But Harry and Meghan? Oh, they completely shattered that royal tradition.
A great surprise and disappointment was to discover that Prince Harry had very little money. She imagined he'd be worth hundreds of millions, if not billions. And she's having to make up for it now. And that's why I think, I think Tina is a great journalist, and perhaps she has inside information. I don't see how the Sussexes can give up both the Netflix and the book deal. They won't be.
Instead of showing Archie to the world in the traditional manner, the Sussexes held a controlled photo shoot days later, carefully selecting which journalists could ask questions. There was no spontaneous, live moment, no step out of the hospital doors. And why? They sold it as a privacy move, but here's the twist. That decision set off massive speculation about the birth. Was there something they were hiding? At first glance, it looked like just another modern twist on the monarchy. But behind the scenes, it was a break from tradition, and a risky one. The absence of a birth announcement, the secrecy. It sparked questions that wouldn't just go away. For many, it was the first clear indication that Harry and Meghan were moving away from the monarchy's accountability.
Montecito cottage be more likely living somewhere in downtown LA, in a little hovel. That's their problem. They're stuck now. But, you know, the truth is about them that the only way I can conceive of Harry getting out of it now is if Charles would bail him out. Somehow he'd have to pay off Netflix, he'd have to pay off...
And then there was the birth certificate drama. When Archie's birth certificate was first revealed, there was one major omission: the place of birth. Now, you may think that's not a big deal, but here's the thing. This is the royal family. In any other family, maybe it wouldn't matter. But for the monarchy, it was a glaring red flag. Royal records are public documents. They're not a matter of personal choice. And when the place of birth was finally revealed, it was a correction. Portland Hospital in London, they said. But this isn't just about paperwork. It's about credibility. Why wasn't this information provided from the get-go? Why the delay? Why even change the record? Critics didn't buy the clerical error excuse, and rightly so. And then, of course, there's the timing. Why, if they were so keen on privacy, did they fix the certificate at all? It gets worse. According to royal observers, this entire mess opened the door to even more sensitive speculation. What if Archie and Lilibet weren't born in the UK? What if a surrogate was involved? If that were the case, different rules would apply in terms of legal parenthood and succession. That would be a huge deal. The monarchy's legitimacy is tied to these laws, and now there's more. The birth certificates aren't the only thing that's off. Every photo of Archie and Lilibet released by the Sussexes has been meticulously controlled. Photographs taken days or even months after the events they depict. Every image seems calculated, edited to within an inch of its life, and scrutinized to the point of forensic examination. Experts have pointed out odd lighting, perspective inconsistencies, and even signs of digital manipulation. Let's be clear here. In the age of digital media, people can spot these discrepancies from miles away. When photos of the royal babies are released, especially in this climate of suspicion, it only adds fuel to the fire. Critics have long pointed to these seemingly minor details and asked, what are they trying to hide? Is it about the children's biological connection to Harry and Meghan? Is there something about their births that's so delicate that they can't show us the full truth? Every image manipulation accusation, every odd choice in how they manage their public appearances seems to feed into the narrative that something is off. And in today's world, perception is reality. So here's where things get seriously tangled. The Sussex children have never participated in royal traditions in the way their cousins did. Take royal christenings. These aren't just family gatherings, they're historical markers. These events are moments of visibility, moments when lineage is confirmed for both the public and the monarchy. But Archie's christening was anything but traditional. It was private, heavily restricted, with only a handful of guests allowed. No official photos released. But if you thought that was odd, Lilibet's christening? It was even more unusual. She wasn't christened in the UK at all. Instead, it reportedly took place in California, without any of the usual royal ceremonial flair. Some supporters of Harry and Meghan claim this is simply them exercising their freedom from the royal family, but critics are starting to wonder, is it really freedom or is it concealment? The tension surrounding Lilibet's christening is only growing. Critics argue that skipping these royal traditions isn't a personal choice about freedom. It's a strategic move to avoid scrutiny. After all, royal christenings are not just just private family moments. They're constitutional events that confirm the legitimacy of the royal line. When Harry and Meghan opt out of this, it looks less like a rebellion and more like a way to evade the very accountability they once promised to bring to the monarchy. Now, if it turns out that either Archie or Lilibet was born via surrogacy, this is where things could get really complicated. Under UK law, if a child is born through surrogacy, the woman who physically carries the child is legally considered the mother at birth, regardless of the biological connection. To change the legal parenthood, a parental order must be granted. This requires full disclosure. If Harry and Meghan concealed this, it wouldn't just be a PR scandal, it could undermine the very foundation of royal legitimacy. For the royal family, every decision is scrutinized, dissected, and analyzed. It's not just about how Harry and Meghan feel, it's about how their actions affect the monarchy's integrity. Right now, they're walking a very fine line between personal choice and constitutional duty. And the longer they stay silent, the more the questions will pile up. So, what's the final verdict here? The truth about Archie and Lilibet's births isn't just a matter of public curiosity anymore, it's a matter of national concern. Harry and Meghan can only hide behind deflections and accusations for so long before the public demands answers. And if they continue to ignore the calls for transparency, they risk alienating their already strained relationship with the public and the monarchy itself. As the controversy rages on, one thing is clear: the story of the Sussexes is far from over. This is just the beginning of a much larger, far-reaching scandal. How long before the truth comes out? Well, that's anyone's guess.